In 480 BC, the Greek naval commander Themistocles lured the massed warships of the invading Persian fleet into the Straits of Salamis and destroyed them, forcing King Xerxes to abandon his campaign to establish Asian dominion over European soil. The whole of European culture and tradition, which to a very great extent emanates from the Greeks, owes much to this famous victory, and it may be said that, in a similar vein, the Battle of Warsaw in 1920, when Polish forces repelled the Red Army, was comparable by stemming the tide of communism surging out from the newly installed Bolshevik regime in Moscow that threatened to engulf the whole of Europe. The newly created state of Poland was wedged uncomfortably between the two dominant nations of Germany and Russia, with diametrically opposed political philosophies, both of whom plotted continuously to reclaim the lands of Poland that had up until recently been part of the once great but now defunct German and Russian empires. In order to protect itself, Poland was obliged to plot and negotiate with both of its neighbours to try and prevent them from realizing its ambitions to eviscerate the country. The United States had been instrumental in the creation of the Polish state after the First World War, but thereafter showed little interest in its predicament. While France was a traditional friend to the Polish peoples and a significant supplier of military aid, its political influence over Eastern European affairs weakened as its own political institutions fell prey to extremes of both left and right, and its immediate post-war dominance waned. Britain seemed interested only in commerce, and that made Germany and Russia significantly more important as trading partners than the predominantly agricultural and technologically backward state of Poland. The decisions taken at Versailles created a Europe that seethed with discontent. It is true to say that the problems faced by the decision-makers were almost beyond solution, and while very many historians, with good reason, have criticized them, few have ventured to suggest what better arrangements over national borders would have been less contentious. The Allies struggled to accommodate US President Woodrow Wilson's concept of the congruity of peoples and their lands, but there was a big gap between ideals and demographic realities. New countries emerged from the chaos of war, and borders were drawn on maps by the victorious powers with arrogance, war weariness and frustration at the seemingly intractable problems of ethnic divisions, ethnic mixing and ethnic aspirations. There were no historical guidelines, only natural markers such as mountains and rivers, and there were certainly no clear divisions between ethnic peoples who had commingled, coexisted, and interbred for many generations within the now defunct imperial dominions.